Energetic Leech-Fly by Christopher Rhokhas, aka the Barbarian Lunatic. Somewhere deep within our hearts, there lives the wish to be free. But sometimes we must find a way to clear our minds and see. There's a story I'm telling that you might have lived. And now I decided to finally lift the bar of silence fear has cast on a topic of the past. Story mode. Long ago and right about now, there lived in the jungle a tribe in a world without time. The Rhokhas. The Rhokhas. Now witness a heaven that soon will turn hell, and ask yourself what happened to the wishing well. Enjoy! There, deep in the jungle, lived the tribe of the Rhokhas. A strong-minded people with extraordinary perceptive abilities. And yet, their minds were at ease, for they lived in abundance. This lack of attention took shape in the most inconspicuous form imaginable. Daybreak. The village is waking up. The morning sun is showing its face and the river is gurgling its charm. Drip, drop, spit, splash, all that you know is the try. And once you know whom to protect, you may start cleaning your mind. 1 morning, 2 mornings, 3 mornings, 5. The Rhokhas were people that were quite alive. But wait, there's a shadow that starts taking shape. And what once was conscious may soon change its ways. Unconscious slumber wakes you not, but drags you down into hell. So best watch out, or all you know is going to be drained. There, right there in the jungle, the place where shadows are lurking, wounds ooze and hearts beat to the rhythm of uncertainty. Right there was a manifesting a doom. Tiny, but hardly noticeable for those that dwell in the world without paying attention. a fly, a leech. An entity that in later years was to be known as the energetic Leech-Fly. Now imagine a people that live in the jungle and share an existence of trust. They bond by living in communal dwellings and carry the wisdom of past. Family, not pretenders. Each of these souls is their own. No meddling with forces or taming of horses. These people aren't greedy to grow. Or no. The jungle will know if you trust. A hunter must come forth from the protection of huts. He goes into the wild to seek for anything with fins or beak and brings it back to be prepared and naturally also shared. A piece for you, a piece for us, but never selfish like the mass. A tribling takes not overmuch, but considers the other ones. See before your mind's eye the village coming to life. Everyone fulfills their tasks and does so without complaints. The Rhokhas are able to choose their own timing to do their chores, but few, except the Shaman, ever worked during the night. A man with an open mind sits through the night and hears from a distance a spasm of fright. His ears are strained with focus inside, and looking within with second sight, there opens a world of abstract truth that brings to the focused looker a set of clues. Screaming is reaching his ears. Despair is building up and will soon reach his people he fears. But knowing strength helps him to face the madness that is gonna chase the vision he hath just perceived, and help to keep his heart at ease. Demonic forces are at work, and mindless babbling springeth forth from craving souls that do not know how their minds have turned so weak and slow. Amongst the visions he then spots a tiny creature full of wrath that isn't natural at all and comes to make the weak ones fall. Here we can see the Garden of Eden that turned around so the people get eaten by anything that steals your time and leaves you nothing but your wine. Children crying, elders moan, and others stand around as though they got no drive, are inward dead, and then there's those who stay in bed. What is this? Great spirit things, these people ought to fight, not cringe, and looks for someone in the tribe who may help others to survive by shining light on goings on that have been going on too long. A warrior is needed, someone with lots of trust, a soul that's uncorrupted to face this doom at last. The people gather round to talk and find a man to walk the walk.
Send him forth to find the truth, so we may stop this self-abuse.
Which going down the drain must be, as some of us have chosen seeds that did not grow into fine trees, but started rotting full of greed.
This warrior, however, is clearly who we need. A fine young man that suffered well and did not spill his seed.
The choice is made and chosen thus. The man must leave behind his hut and gather insides on his way that will add up into a tale which he can relate to the tribe and help his people to survive. The first stage of his journey is deeper, deeper, deep, towards another dwelling where spirit bade him sleep. To get there he must travel far, 3 days are what it takes, and on his way with heart ajar he walks past hunting snakes. Passes marvels you won't see unless you raise the stakes and breathe.
Ooh, what's this?
A dragonfly sitting on a branch, and there are wild boar hurrying, for predators may clench their jaws around the neck and squeeze until the squeals will cease. And now remember how it is to be a man that feels his destiny, which pulls him forth from what he knows without remorse, and still continues on his way to conquer doubt and save the day. This is the part that men must face to prove to spirit what each weighs, and so this Spartan won't look back and neither will give in to slack, but find a way to other parts, more secluded and more dark, but inside heart he carries flame, or else this man would go insane. The warrior arrived at last. A hut from someone that got lost will be his shelter while he speaks with spirit to know what he needs to do in order to retrieve the insights that his people seek. So he prepared to sit at night and hold his ground despite the fright that being lonely sometimes brings, but worry not, his stinger stings. For warriors know to defend and may at times even pretend to lure you closer to their range and then strike hard before you faint. Night approached, the fire burns to keep out sleep and predators, for seeking visions take some time, and when they come then without chime. Without warning they're just there, like waking up to a nightmare. Now do not think that spirits talk like modern man who thinks this joke, but open up to the idea that messages come like a breeze, that bring you images through mind, emotional stories you need to unwind and speak to you from what they are, a new perspective, Wunderbar. And don't forget that visions take many hours to dissect. They're packed. The fire is crackling, throwing off sparks, and the man is starting to grin like a shark. For there in the flames he started to gaze the shape of a spirit that is quite ablaze. Translated into human speech, the message could be read like this.
Greetings, old one. I have come to give you tidings from the sun. Too much heat makes hearts dry out and gives the body stuff like gout. Coffee shouldn't be consumed as it burns and turns to dunes what used to be oasis. A soul is like a well, but if you take its waters and pour them into hell, then what is left for living? That's what I came to tell. What's more is that your people are drowning, 'cause they chose to worship idle chit-chat instead of chasing gold. A fire may burn bright today, but what if life comes to bring hail? What will you be doing when flames turn cold and dead? How worthy are the Rhokhas when legs have turned to lead? This now, young warrior, will be the tale that the Great Spirit bade you to tell, not in words, but through your deeds, when doom and resolve finally meet.
Pillars of stones are marking your way, and without the roots your tribe will give way to others. While you are all one, you are also alone, and now you may listen to the rumblings of stone.
Grumble, rumble, I am stone. Many facets I have known. Avalanches I know well, when million stones bring others hell. One day I'm here, the next I am there. The wind blows hard and moves me one square. The tallest mountain can't exist without falling apart. And all that will be left of me will be a sea of shards. Still do you see me moping when I am torn apart? I'm smoothened into silt by a giant icy mass. And still I am what stone is. I'm the sand that makes the dunes. I have many shapes and textures, but also different hues. There's crystals and granite, igneous rock, basalt and sandstone, marble and chalk. But as I know your time is short, I also keep this message short. For stone could ramble on without ever coming to a halt. My message is, be versatile and know who you are on your own. Take the pressure as it is and pursue what you have been shown.
I am a climber, not a leech, and neither do I lie or preach. What do vines do but protect the bark of those that stand erect? Trees grow tall, and all I ask is to climb their form and bask. I do not suffocate, not I, but simply take a little light. I feed the birds, I feed the bees, and some make baskets out of me. I bring you words from nature's midst and tell you to never give in. Your tribe is sick, and so you see parasites that kill your trees. But trees to you may be your dad, or perhaps the wife you've wed. So have some courage to stand tall and heed this ancient call to war. This ancient call to war. For parasites took human form and feast on those who joined the norm. But what is this? It's nature's law, and those who suffocate weren't wrong. So what am I? A parasite, or maybe just another light that wants to glow and to survive through just another spiritual night?
Drought, the emotional desert is here. Go beyond what you can see and overcome your fear. A basilisk may not swim, but it will cross the stream. For running over water is the Jesus lizard's thing. No golden locks, no sandals, my cross is made of claws. Out here in the wild there is naught but nature's law. If I am caught, then I am dead, and so I cross the water's edge and run as fast as I can go before I am swallowed whole. Now listen, man, for there are creatures of the sun that drowned in darkness, seeking fun and looked for pleasure, seeking bliss while thinking doom is just a myth. And now you see that they were caught and feel inside a bit remorse, but worry not, they had their time and simply didn't dare to shine. They never fought, but just gave in and ultimately couldn't swim, and thus the doom that sends you forth must not raise feelings of remorse, but should enlarge your heart to those that wish to fight and follow goals that give your people balance and guide them through the night. Do not worship pretenders and cross the stream of life.
That is enough for one night. For a warrior, the journey takes shape along the way, while he needs to ascertain that he is not delayed or betrayed. 4 visions were presented to the man who seeketh truth, and now he needs to understand what each of them ensues. What he grasps is that he must be on his way to find at last the answers he was searching. His heart is like a pro, deciphering each vision until he can let go. The path is getting clearer, each step is lifting weights. The place where spirit guides him is slowly taking shape. Now while the man is walking on, his mind is working hard to find out what he did not hear, see, or feel. While life explained his part, and finally there clarifies a vision from the mist of pushing through and wandering that adds another bit, which he who walks the walk must take between his teeth until they ache, to make sure his task be fulfilled before his people are all still. Keep moving on through shadows, through darkness and through light, to see another morning and view your loved one smile. The warrior, Kshatriya comes forth, moves through gaps that most can't see to reach those distant shores. That vision showed him to direct a heart with purpose and intent towards a future that has hope and pushes out the cosmic joke. Along the way, the warrior sees many things and mustn't shut his eyes. He needs to be instructed on the ways of other tribes. There's madness in the midst of the jungle, and some sorcerers have evil intent, telling the people to line up with their wills so crookedly bent. And then they pose as sacrifice for a deity our man doesn't know, a fly that glows before it stings while afterwards no color shows. What is this thing? He couldn't tell, but the people he met were clearly unwell. They had no hope, were bottled up, and always seemed as though they were dull. The fly itself was tiny, but spirit said beware. The sorcerer says little jabs, but have you seen his glary stare? This tribe succumbed as hell's abode, a demon's feast, the cancers grow. No warriors are in this clan, or else they were befouled, corrupted in their hearts, and all good deeds bad-mouthed. This is the way of evil things. They spread deceit and let those sting who care not for the little child, to be free and strong and wild. But now we ask a question. Who here is at fault? Is it the evil sorcerer or glowing fly at all? Or is it people that gave in instead of being strong? To some it seems convenient to never heed the call or walk the walk. For some might rather just talk the talk. You decide, choosy. In the meantime, in a village, when all of us worship machines, then who will get the following scene? The moon is shining, twilight approached, the jungle waits to lose control. Tribal, two children are dancing around in circling circles with an elderly woman about. She, the old one, doesn't think but watches out for anything that could do harm to growing seeds who are so precious and so sweet. Now as the elder sitteth thus, a song from girlish lips erupts that sparks an insight, make it two. This song shall now be sung to you.
Oh, my people, what have we become? Are we so weak that our tribe can be overcome? What is the doom we are facing, and what do we know from the past? Listen to your ancestors and look at the shadows we've cast. Tremble, not in the face of the void. Those that are currently dying have already made their choice. The huts must be swept, the fire maintained. Baskets need weaving and children need tales.
At this moment the song ended and the girl came to herself as though awakened from a trance. The elder knew straight away that this girl was born a sorceress with strong ancestral roots, and that her words must be treasured and relayed to the others as soon as possible. Have you ever followed a vision till the end, not knowing what you'd find there, be enemy or friend? Have faith in what you're doing, and one day you may know how it is to suffer towards the only goal that you could choose from all the rest, as nothing else would fill your chest. The moment approached, 4 days of walking alone in the jungle, silent, no talking. And now it is here, the scene from the dream. The man is fishing at the river, it seems. A warrior is a hunter, a vision turns to prey. Fishy fish line, focus, and it cannot escape. Reality caught up at last and broke the hero's social fast, who may now warily approach a man he doesn't even know. Close your eyes, start breathing. It's meditation time. The best way to share visions and speak with other minds. As you can see, the warrior has overcome his fear. Talked to the man at the river, and now they are sitting right here. Conversing through telepathy saves many, many words. As you can share with other souls all you did since birth. Now in this conversation, these men must not be touched, or else the link is broken and messages corrupt. One man feels what he went through to get to where they met. The other gets it straight away, responds with great respect. The bearded one is Shaman, and elder by some years. He sees the man's concern and also what he fears. He read his mind quite skillful from years of having learned to dive in minds of others without being overturned. You listening? You listening? You listening? You listening? You listening? You listening? The skill of reading minds is knowing who you are and not being consumed, overpowered, or alarmed by anything you find there, for this isn't always real, but shows where souls are dwelling and what holes need to be filled. The gist? The shaman knows what's going on and has already formed a bond with this man's task by filling gaps through focusing on all the scraps that he has found. Being concerned with all our warrior has learned. For all of you that never had a quiet moment in their heads, I shall relay what helped me cleanse. Ingest some bitter herbs and dance. What's this? Be quiet and listen to the space in between. Spirit will show you passageways that you must spot from within. But let us not get lost just yet and listen to the tale, which tells us what the shaman does, who doesn't like to fail. The shaman gathered all the clues, but one of them stands out. There's something odd about those flies that fills his heart with doubt. He's seen them buzzing round of late, and now he heard this man relate the tale of tribes that lost their light, and wonders whether glowing flies could affect the people's minds and quench in them their inner shine. Then the scene shifts, and the shaman's mind is guided to see what spirit wishes to communicate. For some truths need a broader perspective that cannot be attained without trust and nature's wisdom. Let's break the rhyme just for one scene and let the vision talk for me.
Spirit shows the man the ways of the jungle, to remind him that nature is always striving for equilibrium.
In the meantime, in a village. First, she addresses the darkness.
My people, listen, there is evil afoot, which comes to steal your light. But this is not what I'm worried about, as this is the way of life. What worries me is how we live, too lazy we have become. We cringe under the heaviness, and many of us chose fun.
Now the light.
But we, the people, must move on, and that is steady work. With every basket woven, we also clear the murk. What our children need from us is show them how to live, prepare them for the darkness, and teach them how to sit. Visions of a worthwhile life will come to us as long as we fight for living how we want to live, for our children in the midst. But look at us, our children cry, they're lonely. We must teach them the light, or else this doom takes over the entire tribe. To some of you I will say this, the glowing fly that injects, stings, is not what we are fighting, but something that has shown that our tribe corrupted and felt no longer whole. And as we fled away from hope, the parasites approached.
No rope, no rope.
We lost our ways and healing. Remember who you are. Do not betray your ancestors and play an active part. When few will stand together, then it's harder to tear them apart. It's time to learn to live again, let us not be dismayed. What evil we are facing, our bonds won't be betrayed.
With this the speech endeth, but much more could be said. The importance lies with remembering that some of us have found new ways of living by mixing ancestral knowledge with the way of the world today. Start weaving, start knitting, make your own clothes, go into nature and see it like home. Gather wild herbs that still grow today and witness the tale that you're going to tell. Your life has a meaning. Are you willing to find out what it is? Look for the light in all that you perceive, and the darkness will be kept at bay. Lead over to modern life. So what is it you treasure? A Leech-Fly sucks your tribe. So best not look at elsewhere, but face the life outside. Remember those that helped you. Freedom was betrayed. What once used to be warriors is now inadequate. Thus join the ones that live it, barefoot in the mud, haka inside courtrooms, spirit runs amok, Facing off pretenders, that's how wholesome starts. The wound has clearly festered, and that's why some make art. Match me in a contest that nature never stopped. Survival of the fittest means you cannot give up. Healthy means in balance. That's an active life. If you forget your patience, then maybe start living in tides.
Remember the words. Remember the words that sprang forth from the flames.
In cities there will be no rain as concrete lets evaporate what gathers in the atmosphere from plants that channeled water here. But were then slain by angry folks that bought machines and treasured jokes and thought it was a good idea to cut off trees and live in fear.
Here we see a fact sheet of the mysterious energetic Leech-Fly, Vaccinatus unnecessariensis, as presented by the Spiritual Insight Foundation, which consists of self-selected individuals that chose to open their hearts to the teachings of nature, who is an expert in keeping parasites in check. Detected parasitic behavior in your surroundings? Observe, pin down, and make your solutions accessible to the public. One tribe, one mind, one heart.
Kapoka Maya Mino
The X marks the spot where the treasure is found.